Okay, that's how it works. So hello and welcome to another episode of Loose Canon. Sorry for the delay. We had an issue uh, this morning, and I needed to restart my computer.
Happens.
And restarting my computer means I need to turn off monitor lights that come on, which I really hate. But either way. Hello, welcome. We're back. We're God. I don't know what the hell's happening. I'm just getting a bunch of notifications now. It's been a while. Our last episode was like the week before Christmas, I think. So yeah, it was on the 18th of December. So then we didn't have a show last week. So we bumped it up to today. Or how the hell it worked out. It doesn't matter. And we are now in week 5 of season of the Seraph, which has been a very good season. But how have things been with you, Rana?
Good. Been, getting prepped for the new year. A lot of people wanting to go back to grind and
Yeah.
full swinging happening.
Yeah, I've been playing quite a bit more actually this season than I normally have. I don't remember last episode. Did we get the chance to talk about Operation Seraph Shield?
No, we didn't actually.
Okay, because I love that activity. It's a really great activity, even on Legend, because there's no like um timer, and
Yeah.
there's very few instances where if you die it actually matters. I think there's only two, and that's on its two boss fights. It's just like it's very just a chill experience.
Yeah, my wife and I we went through it blind.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so it was crazy. She got us through. I was just lost. But it was a good one because I felt like it catered a little bit more to just like like not just hard. This time around, as far as exotic missions go, I think this is more friendly. It still had its moments that were complicated, but
Hmm.
like it wasn't just insane crazy jumping puzzles, even with that whole in outer space area.
Yeah,
And like the mechanics were somewhat more straightforward to.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it used the mechanics from uh Deep Stone Crypt.
Yeah. The hardest part I will say going in blind was, the room with the stupid floor that you had to follow.
Yeah, yeah.
We
People really
we
struggled on that.
we were hitting our head against the wall for a while until I finally was just like, all right, I'm just going to take a picture of this with my phone and try to walk through it.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that because I wanted to see what it was like just doing it blind, not looking at anything. We got it.
Yeah, so when I on my first playthrough of that, I took a picture immediately. I saw the path and I was like, "All right, I'm taking a picture." Like I understand what you're telling me to do. I'm not sitting here trying to memorize the layout. If it
Yeah.
change because I was expecting it to not be a static layout. I was expecting it to
Like
change
change every time.
yeah,
Yeah.
every time, and I was like, "Nope, not doing it to myself. I'm just taking a picture." And it hasn't changed. What does change is the second level, the terminals, and that's where I've seen people get really confused, where they're just like, I don't understand, like how to do these terminals, like how to they like overcomplicate it because it's
Yeah.
three
That's what we did.
groupings of three
Yeah.
terminals. So I go,
Yeah.
if it's the first one, I go one. If it's the third
Right.
one, three, and then if it's the first one again, one. So I just go one, three, one, and I just
So
do the path.
I noticed after because that was frustrating not knowing. Like you would go, okay, well, crap, we got to get scanned so we can go through this
Yeah,
room, and then for some reason, I kept making everything complicated.
yeah.
Didn't need to be. So I was like, oh, well, I guess we need to go all the way back like 4 rooms ago and get scanned. But I was too
Oh,
stupid to realize that. Oh wait, if you go through this vent in the next room, there will be the scan.
yeah,
But yeah, it took a while for us to understand. I mean, my wife, she's very good at like just going headstrong into everything and just rushing into anything that moves and
Yeah.
tighten that says anything.
So it was broken up into like segments where it's like first you learn how to use scanner and they teach you how to use scanner and then they
Yeah.
teach you how to use operator and then they teach you how to use suppressor. And so they had like a few increasing difficulty challenges. And so the first scanner room, it's just a single room with three terminals that are just boom, 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 and that's it. You kill the scanner, you pick it up, you get it, you go up into space. And then the second one's a little more complicated. I think that was when you were mentioning because it was like you see the scanner through a window and it's or you see
Yep.
the next terminal through a window and it's like how do I get
Yeah,
there? And it's like
shoot
oh
it.
you have to go through this vent and it's like okay, a little more complicated. But the third one I got stuck on for like 15 minutes because the
Yeah.
third one you get your first scanner terminal grouping and or your first terminal and then some shanks spawn above a door and there's another vent so you go through the vent and you find yourself in like a hallway with the lasers so you have to like wait through the lasers and then you hit the second terminal and then the third terminal is through a window and it's in a room but I didn't deposit my scanner buff. I just was like how do I enter this room and
Right.
I ran really hard into that door to the room, even though it was closed. I just like really was just like maybe if I just like hold up, the door will magically understand what it's supposed to do and it'll let me in here so I can go get that third scanner. And what actually happened is it took my scanner away despite the fact that I hadn't deposited it, so the door was still locked. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I was like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And so I had to wait for the scanner enemy to respawn to pick up a second scanner buff, deposit it, open the door, realize what I did wrong again because then you have to memorize the terminal, come back out, pick up another scanner, see which one it is, and then go and do that one. So that one stuck me for a minute.
The boss fights were the boss fights were good fights too.
Yeah.
I'd say the most memorable parts were just being in outer space. That was
Yeah.
cool, and then descending down onto those skinny little spurs that stick out of the orbiting satellite, just
Hmm.
trying to land perfectly as you're falling. That was pretty memorable. And
Did
then
you
of
did you
course
go
the
explore underneath or did you just go straight to where you're supposed to go?
uh we went straight to everything. I don't think I mean unless we were just lost, we didn't really do
Yeah, because like
exploration.
that's like another section from the Deep Zone Crypt raid, where you start underneath and you kind of work your way out and out around and up. And so in
Uh
this, you're kind of starting on the out, and then you can actually work your way down and head all the way back to a similar door that you come out of in the Deep Stone Crypt. There's no point to it. It's just there. It's just a huge amount of
okay.
space that's just there.
It's like, hi, we left this here to make
Yeah.
you wonder.
And I mean, I was like, I don't know if there's anything down here, but I'm gonna find out.
Interesting. I like the weapon that came from it. It was a good weapon.
Revision 0, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Ha-
use it a ton,
Have you gotten the
but
drones?
I haven't gone back and gotten the drones yet. I need.
Because to do it legit, you needed this week and last week. You needed to specifically pick the two upgrades that let you open the doors and go through the lasers without hurting yourself. And going through the lasers without hurting yourself is absolutely the
Yeah,
priority pick because
that's the
I
best
didn't pick
one.
that one first. I wish I did.
Yeah, my wife was like, "No, we're getting the laser," because she dies on those lasers. But yeah, since we've gotten it now, doing the heist battlegrounds is so much easier
Yeah,
without.
you
She's
just
just
you
like,
don't give a
"Forget
shit.
this, I'm running." Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Me, I'm trying to like hang back and do everything, in a coordinated way and efficient and trying to be all smart about it. And she's just
Yeah.
like, brah.
Yeah, I have to I picked the doors upgrade first because I didn't realize that there would be drones behind behind lasers, and I was like, I want to get all the drones done. So like I picked the door upgrade. I went around the system. I got all the drones, and then I went to the Seraph station. And I was like, how did I miss
Lasers.
drones? I went to every door, and then I looked it up, and it was like, oh no, you missed quite a few. And I was like, God damn it! Like I didn't realize I needed a second upgrade.
Well, so then you got the upgrade to the weapon.
I have the first one. I was playing the second one today, where you have to do it on Legend, and I got to the first suppressor buff, and I got distracted by something. I stood still for like 10 minutes or so, and then I got error coded out of the mission, and there's no
Oh
checkpoints.
man.
Like if there was a checkpoint after the first boss, and if you
Oh
got to the second boss, that's all I need. I don't need every little room to
yeah.
have its own.
Dude, now you mentioned it, I forgot about that. That happened. Okay, so yeah,
It's rough.
there was a panic moment in when we were doing the original mission. I got kicked to orbit
Ooh.
and like completely out of it, like everything shut
And you
down.
can't go back in. They lock you
Oh
out.
no, no, I got to go back in. I just joined
Oh,
my
okay.
wife who was still in there. I was like, just stay there. And so I joined back in and got to finish the quest. But
Huh.
that's the first one I'm talking about.
So, so from what I understood, at least, maybe I misunderstood one of my clanmates talking about it. If you are not joining in, you can't join in part way.
Maybe that's true, but I got to join back in
Yeah,
because we
because you
started the
were
mission together.
originally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There was no problem getting back in. It just obviously took a while because I had to restart everything. But yeah, I was oh man, it was a panic moment because after hitting yourself against all those
Yeah.
walls and then getting into space and you're like, okay, I know we're around the end finally,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden
Like
I'm
you know
like
you're coming
gone.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's frustrating. So I could imagine if you're like soloing it and that happens. Oh,
Yeah. It's not that it's hard. It's not that I'm in here and it's a really difficult challenge. Like it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's very casual friendly of just take your
yeah,
time, you'll get it done, don't rush, just, bit by bit and you'll handle it. But it's the fact that it's like, okay, I put in like 30 minutes into this
exactly,
and now I have to do it again. And
exactly.
it sucks. I'm going to do it again. Probably not today. I'm a little peeved about it still.
Yeah.
But I'll probably do it tomorrow before a reset. So I've been doing it exclusively solo though. You've done it with your wife. The other thing I'm seeing about this mission be talked about is the damage scaling per teammates. Because so if people aren't aware, if you go in with 3 people, the enemies have
Harder.
more health. They are harder to
Wow.
kill.
Okay.
So have you noticed that? Are you like feeling like you're
I
very weak in there?
well, first of all, we were already kind of weak because we were at level. Like we,
Mm-hmm.
this time around, we were like, okay, we're not going in. We're at level at least, right? Because
Yeah.
before every time we've done stuff before, we've always been like 4 or 5 under.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I was like, no, I'm not even messing with it until we're at level at least. So we went in there, and even at power level, the first, not the first part, but right around the middle,
Mm-hmm.
it got hard. Like just the enemies were,
Yeah.
you could still smash for the most part. You could smash everything. I ended up just switching for a moment, just switching to the bow, the bow that Cabal bow, whatever it's called. I forget now.
Leviathan's
Uh,
Breath.
yes, no, the other one, the one where we got it from the Battlegrounds season.
Oh,
That
oh, the legendary Cabal bow.
yeah, no, the exotic one that makes everything explode when you shoot things from.
Oh, yeah, you're
What's it
right.
called?
Tiku's is a Cabal
Yes,
bow, isn't
Tikus.
it?
Okay, so I
Tiku's
ended
is
up
fun.
switching. Yeah, so I ended up switching to Tikus because the onslaught of enemies that kept killing me was getting frustrating, and I was
Mm-hmm.
sick of not being able to manage the ads that were flooding the rooms in the middle only, and it was only
Mm-hmm.
because I was so weak. And I did this when we did our first heist battlegrounds too, because I was like, oh my god, there's way too many. And so anyway, I started cheating, basically using Tiku's bow to just prime everything, so that way when one of us would get a kill, they would just start blowing up everywhere.
Yeah.
That helped a lot. And then that didn't work anymore, so I switched back. But in the middle, with 2 people
Mm-hmm.
being at level, it was pretty difficult. And I
Yeah.
kind of thought that too. I was like, yeah, this is probably that
Yeah.
buffs everything.
Damage scaling's a bitch. It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah.
Monster Hunter is another game that does team-based damage scaling, and if I remember correctly, with Monster Hunter, because they can have teams of 4 on a hunt, in Monster Hunter, once you have two, or it's like there's the levels are one person, two people, and then 3 or 4 people. So if you have a third person but not a fourth person, you are like at the mercy of the monster now,
Wow,
because like it's it's just
so
inflated
hard.
higher.
Yeah,
And I have a buddy who plays, and he plays with his two slash sometimes three other friends, and he'll talk about a monster, and he's like, "Oh, I had such a hard time killing that," and I'm like, "They're so fucking easy, man. Just play by yourself. Just play by
just play
yourself.
by
You're doing
yourself.
it to yourself,
Yeah.
man." It's
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, Heist Battlegrounds. I really enjoy Heist Battlegrounds. The biggest issue with Heist Battlegrounds is um, just
the
the
champs.
insane, yeah, just the insane amount of ads that come at you, which are fine in any normal circumstance, but that
Hmm.
one champion that comes in the room at the same time. And listen, there are challenges in the Heist Battlegrounds, like kill this guy before he gets to the terminal, or kill
Yeah,
this guy before he
the
stops your ghost, or interrupt.
choristers.
Yeah, so we always are like focused. Here he comes, boom, dead.
Yeah,
There's that one Heist Battlegrounds where the stupid Scorn captain, goes across the floor in his either black dark ether mist. You can't shoot him. As soon as he
yep.
has out the door, he makes it all the way to your ghost, no matter what.
Hmm.
And I get so frustrated because we're at the door with rockets or whatever, and you go to get at the door, but here's that champion in the room,
Yeah,
eyeballing you to death before you can kill him. So, that being said, I love the chaotic mess of all the enemies everywhere, but I hate the champions being in it with them. There's got to be a stagger or something. Champion, then flood. The champion, then flood. Not everything all at once.
yeah. Champions are another point that people are kind of like upset about this season, and I mean, I kind of agree. I understand where you're coming from. I'm sick of champions. This season it kind of works out because my three favorite weapons are Arbalest, Witherhoard, and an SMG. So right
Oh
there I
man,
have anti-barrier, unstoppable, and overload.
yeah,
Sorry about flipping you
yeah,
off. Um, so like whenever there's an activity, and I prefer Witherhoard over Arbalest most times, but so whenever there's an activity where it's like unstop and overload, I'm like, I'm fucking ready
switch to
for this.
those.
Like you got the guy you need. Like, don't worry, I'm gonna fucking stun everything. But the second it's like unstop and anti barrier, I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't have the ability to equip both of them. Not only are they both exotics,
that's
but they're
the
in the same
that's the other
slot.
thing. That's the other thing that's annoying is okay, so you get the challenges, you unlock the robot parts that allow you to do heists a little bit easier, better.
Yeah,
You have to get your artifact upgraded enough so that you can get the stupid mods that you can put on the guns that you'd rather use. And then on top of that, you can only get one or two at a time, so you have to really depend on your other fire team to have the other
yeah,
one. So that puts you at a disadvantage because maybe not everybody wants to. And then the third thing that really sucks is, there's the exotic mission with Revision Zero that's gonna
no champs.
definitely, yeah, yeah, definitely gonna give you the thing that the other things, a little bit easier. And so what are you stuck doing? You're like, I'm stuck making everything really hard because for this period of time, this first week, everything's just insanely difficult to do
Yep.
because you've got to juggle all of these different activities and try to micromanage your life so that you're not spending an exorbitant amount of time doing one activity that doesn't pay off. Like Crucible, for what it is, I was just like, okay, we're at the point where we need to level up. Let's just go play Crucible. So we played
Hmm.
Crucible. I mean, we were like boom, 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 and got Rose. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. We're
Yeah,
at
I'm shit
we're
in
at
Crucible,
level.
so I can't do
Yeah, and
that.
I'm not even good. I'm not even good at Crucible, but I'm good enough to get leveled up, right?
Yeah.
So that's always been my crutch. But there was no Iron Banner first this time. Iron Banner's
Yeah.
just now here. Iron
Yeah.
Banner is usually
Rough
the
Iron
one that
Banner.
gives you the yeah, and this one is rough. Anyway, the usual
Uh,
crutches weren't there
yeah.
this time around.
So speaking of, and we're kind of like just flying into this, and I
Sure.
meant to address it at the start of the show. We're thinking about like kind of switching up the format of the show a little bit because of how the lore is being delivered, and we'd rather give a good show. So we want to talk about like current events in Destiny and then also really like with our natural
Chaos.
no, what's the word? Proclivity or whatever? Where,
Yeah,
where where we can't help but focus on lore aspects. So it's like it's gonna happen. It's just
we'll get there.
yeah. What else happened in between our shows, not this week, but recently, was a Gamer Rant article. Did you see this? Destiny 2's Lightfall is around the corner with new enemy types and tormentors, which fans hope will be more akin to champions than Hive Lightbearers.
Yeah, I don't know.
People got pretty fucking mad about this article. And I mean, I see no reason to get mad about it. The person said they if you read the article, they don't really have a stance on it. They kind of just
Yeah,
explain what champions are and then what
yeah.
Hive light bearers are, and then they're just like, there you go. And it's like, okay, I guess.
Okay, so we've definitely gotten to the point where most articles that are being written about Destiny now are pretty formulaic, and it's getting kind of
Yeah.
old. In the fact that there's always the preamble to what they're about to tell you, and then the actual meat or the thing that you're reading the article for is only like two sentences. It's pretty much crap you already knew, and then at the end it's just like a little bit of filler, and then a kind of I'll see you there, right? And so
Yeah.
this
We'll see
mundanity
what it
to
turns
article
out to
writing,
be.
yeah, exactly. So this mundanity to how the articles are writing are getting frustrating because you scan it, you get to the middle, and then you read that one thing that's basically somebody's opinion, or maybe the
Yeah.
thing is going to be the thing that you think it's going to be. And so, what does that do to the community? It makes them speculate, and then otherwise just get outraged
Yeah.
because they've already made up their mind that yeah, that sucks. I'm not gonna. Maybe it's different. No, that sucks. Nuh-uh. No,
Yeah.
maybe it's something else. No, no, it's got to be this, or it's exactly what I'm thinking, and that's not good. And and then they just all this stuff comes out, and everybody gets upset, and then one guy tells one other person something, and it's just this mess. And everybody's like, "Where's the source at?" And you're like, "Oh, it's this one article," and they're like, "What happened in the article?" And then you read it, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is a big waste of time."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
like that gamer rant, exactly what you said. You go to it to see what everybody's mad about, and you're like, "What the hell are y'all mad about?"
yeah. Because it's like I do not hope that tormentors have mods that get put on specific weapons that need to be
Right.
stunned, but I do hope tormentors have a unique mechanic that we
Sure.
have to like work around. Like
Sure.
Hive Light Bearers, for example, it's like they have their ghosts and they have the ability to deploy as supers. So like when you I remember going through the Witch Queen story on the legend difficulty, and it was like, oh, the solar acolyte over there just popped
Yeah.
his super. I'm not peeking because
Yeah.
the
Better
second I
be
peek,
hiding. Yeah.
all those knives are gonna get me.
Yeah.
And
Um.
oh,
So yeah, to add to that to the Lightbearer thing,
mhm.
that was the one like a little bit. So if the Lightbearer was setting us up for something in the future, just mechanic wise, I could see the tormentors being a little bit more of like resurrection focus instead of more like champion. I would say that champions, as they are, just tanks that come in the room that make everything difficult. If a tormentor is like that, or even like the knight that you see that's indestructible with the dark blade, comes in the room with an overshield that you can't do anything with until
Mhm.
you've killed something that removes the overshield. If the tormentor's like that, it's going to be annoying. Or if the tormentor's like a champion, it's going. But what I would like to see is the tormentor be a little bit more akin to a light bearer in just the way. of being able to resurrect himself if you don't manage something in or at the
Yeah. I personally, I'd just like to see like get creative with it. It doesn't,
yeah
you know, they have like mechanics, and for a damn good reason, because it's 2023 now and people still don't understand that in the corrupted, to pass the orbs to break shields so that they do more damage to the shield and to the enemy and cause a bigger explosion, so one orb is enough. Baffling that people don't understand that now. I try to intercept blueberries where they're like, all right, I picked up the orb, I'm gonna break the shield. It's like, no, you're fucking not. I'm gonna catch it, and then I'm gonna break the
yeah
shield and break all of the shields and kill two of the enemies in one blow, instead of having to sit on this fucking elevator for another 10 minutes.
but
But
you see, that, and what happens is they don't even understand that, even if you're doing it. So unless you're speaking to them,
yeah. And
it's
it's like you,
like,
you try to like emo at them, you're like,
yeah,
me,
there's
like give it
no
to
way
me.
to communicate that
Yeah.
unless they're like focused on listening. And most of them, they're just trying not to die, and so it's chaos in the room. They can't
Yeah.
see anything.
But so for good reason, Bungie hasn't brought in raid light mechanics or raid like mechanics into strikes or activities at all. Really, it's always just pick up thing, put in place, and that's the extent. And because
Yeah.
the community's, no offense, has proven that's all they can handle. But I think there's interesting things like Golgoroth, for example. It's like you have two people who are like passing the gaze back and forth. So you
Yeah.
have these mechanics, and now also with the Seraph towers, the laser beams,
That's right.
you
Yeah,
have
you're
you
right.
have these mechanics where it's like, here's an enemy, here's an object or an enemy that puts a debuff on you or a buff on you, however you want to view the Golgoroth one specifically, where it's like it is watching you. And I think it would be interesting to see if, like, tormentors, for example, if you like had the tormentor's gaze where it's like it is targeting you, and in targeting you it's like siphoning your melee ability, your dodge ability, your grenade ability, things
Ooh,
like that, where it's
like it.
like big tanky guy who's making it harder to fight him because he's taking your super now, and it's like, oh shit, you
Yeah,
got to get him down now because he's fucking your day up.
I like that. That's cool.
So I just like them to get more creative,
As
personally.
long as there's not like a billion bad guys in the.
Yeah, and it would be like the mini boss in the room where it's like, okay, here's the tormentor, and then
Yeah.
maybe in like super high end activities, it's like here's the two tormentors, and that's it, because you don't need to
Yeah.
overdo it.
Yeah.
And maybe I saw what I did see. People speculate was that kind of like Rolk, they would have unique crit zones that weren't always active because they had like a blister on their shoulder, kind of like Rolk gets. And I was like, oh, that'd be interesting if it's like the entire body of the Tormentor takes like minimal damage, but his left shoulder takes like quadruple damage, and then it goes away and it goes to his right shoulder, and then it goes away and it goes to his right knee, and it goes away, and something like that. Even that is still interesting, where it's like you have to focus where to hit it.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, and that would work too because I think people, as long as it's centrally focused and not like
Yeah,
in the room.
exactly.
Yeah, because we've experienced these things in the past, and even blueberries can understand. Okay, there's a crit spot.
Yeah, yeah,
Like even the Cabal and regular battlegrounds, there's the one spot on their back that takes more damage, or like when they don't have their shield, you got to get inside the shield to
hmm
damage stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe the tormentors could be a little bit.
And remember the classic phalanx who just had a regular like iron shield, not the extendable with the button that you can press.
Oh yeah, yeah, and then yeah.
That would throw people for a loop. Now they'd be like, "Where's the thing to make them stop blocking?" And it's like they don't have it.
So since that's been introduced ever since Destiny 2's inception, and I finally understood about it, that's all I ever do now when I see a Cabal with
Yep.
those stupid shields. I always go for the button, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what's
And it,
wrong with me that all I have to do is shoot a rocket and I kill 50 of them, and it's behind their shield. But for some reason, I'm so hyper focused on that stupid shield now.
it's so stupid too, because it's like here's our like energy deployed shield. It's like, that's amazing. How do you collapse it? Well, it's like, well, there's this button on the front of it,
Yeah.
and when it gets hit, not only will it collapse the shield, but it's gonna
Yeah.
like really fucking hurt. So it's probably gonna
Yeah.
stagger you. Cabal engineers are not the brightest.
No. Well, lore card, I guess.
Yeah, lore card it is. It's on the screen.
All right. All right. Cool. Ah, oh yeah, okay. So I really like this one because it has a little bit of a blast from the past.
Which ones are these for? Are these for Frosties?
Uh, yes, these are for Frosties, not Stompy. Stompy is the newest ornament on the Stompies. Clovis Bray looking. This is the ornament for Frosties, and it's aptly named 8000er.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why it's called 8000er is 8000. Excuse me, 8000ers are any of the 14 independent mountains on Earth, all located in Asia, that extend more than 8,000 meters or 26,247 feet above sea level. Um, and they are the three most dangerous mountains are located here. And that's Purna, sorry, and that's in Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
Key on that. K2 and Nanga Parbat. Um, one out of every four climbers die here each year. Yeah, so the odds are stacked against you that you're gonna make it to the.
Like climbing mountains isn't even like a feat anymore because it's just like, I have money, bring me up there.
So that's kind of what I thought too. But let me explain something to you. So even if you have all the money in the world, you're still rolling a die on if you're going to survive or not.
Really?
Regardless, yeah, to do it legit, no, no helicopter dropped you off at the peak. Even if a helicopter dropped it off at the peak, you're going to die because your body hadn't acclimated, whatever it is, unless you've got like some bubble around you. I don't know. But here you go. And you can't even take. Okay, so here's the thing: you can't even take a helicopter to the top
I
of
was
these
gonna say, I
things
don't
and
think you
survive.
could.
It won't work because the wind up there is insane.
Yep.
It'll just crash anything that's up there. So yeah, rescue missions, all that stuff. People, when they say, "Oh, this guy got trapped on a mountain," we
Mm-hmm.
got to send a rescue team to get him. No, that's all fantasy. That doesn't happen. If you're dead up there, that's it. That's it.
That's
Nobody's coming to
upsetting.
get you. Yeah, the only person that's going to come get you is the next person that tries it, or some awesome
But then
local.
if no one comes to get you, how will you have the comical moment at the funeral where your now rich nephew opens up the casket and your corpse body, frozen still somehow, pops out?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I always think about Mr. Deeds when his granddad was stuck at the mountain peak,
Oh, is it granddad?
frozen.
I thought it was his uncle.
Oh yeah, it was his uncle's. Yeah, sorry,
Oh, okay.
uncle.
Well,
Um,
it's relative.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so um, the International Mountaineering and Climbing Federation, the UIAA, recognizes 8,000ers as the 14 mountains that are more than 8,000 meters in height above sea level. They're considered to be sufficiently independent of neighboring peaks. So there's like this loose criteria that they use to identify the 8,000ers,
Hmm.
right? And so the 8,000ers are any mountains that are their own mountains, can't be sharing a mountain, can't be touching each other, stuff like that. But there's no definitive criteria used to assess independence, and all 8,000ers are located within the Himalayan and Karakoram mountain ranges in Asia, and their summits are in what is considered the death zone. So these are the world's tallest and most dangerous mountains. They have massive blocks of ice, or seracs, word they use for that, that can crush climbers in seconds and are prone to quick crushing avalanches of rock and snow that have been known to destroy entire expeditions. So they're covered by these ice crevasses that can trap climbers as well. And so during the summer, average daytime temperatures are frigid and hurricane force winds are common. So
Jesus
at
Christ.
yeah, so if you can imagine climbing a mountain that basically has all these hazards, right? That you don't even know exist because there's a blanket of snow hiding all this stuff. You've got to be looking below and you've got to be looking above, and you got to be managing yourself at the same time. So if an avalanche happens above, you're dead. If a ice crevasse breaks open underneath you, you're falling in there and you're dead. And the other thing is the altitude. Here's where it
Yeah.
gets interesting. Here's the most interesting part of this part. Um, at 5,000 meters or 16,400 odd feet, the atmosphere contains about half as much oxygen as it would at sea level, right? So already you're at 50% what you'd be breathing doing right now. By 6,000 meters, that's only another 1,000 meters or 19,000 feet, the air is so thin that full acclimatization is no longer possible and climbers begin to slowly suffocate. So at 6,000 feet, once you've crossed that threshold, you're on a timer. At 5,000 feet, you can live and be there for as long as you need to. But at 6,000 feet, you're on a timer. So here's what's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, so that means that once you get to 6,000 feet, you better book it. You got to start going. Like the summit is your priority. Otherwise, you're dead. You're not going to make it
Well,
in
because
time.
you have to go to the summit, and then you also have to get back down.
Exactly. Well, the descent, can be a little bit because you can rappel and stuff. So it's a little bit faster, obviously.
Yeah, well,
But
I
yes,
mean, but
even still,
with the avalanches and the crevasses, you're telling me you can just quickly get down. You're like, I made
no,
it. Let's go. Let's
no.
the fucking
And yeah,
hurricane winds. You're gonna
yeah,
propel
yeah.
down.
And they're common. They're common. So, and they can happen at any point because the winds up there just changed for no reason. So you could be just going about your business thinking, oh, today's going to be great weather. And then all of a sudden, nope. So at 7,000 meters or 22,000 feet, survival times plummet and lucid thought becomes difficult. So now you're at an altitude where like just being able to focus on what you're doing is because you're like almost drunk. By 8,000 meters, the so called death zone, even the strongest climbers can only survive for a few days at best. Three most dangerous of the 8,000ers, Annapurna, which is in Nepal, K2, and Nanga Parbat, one out of every four dies climbing these. So this death zone and those three particular mountain ranges have been considered the like those are the ones, right? Forget
Yeah.
Everest. Forget Everest. These are the ones. These are the death zone killers of the 8,000.
Oh my
Um,
god.
so
Isn't
here's
it crazy that we have to like name things like that? Like this is the death zone. It is not a
yeah, yeah.
challenge.
No,
It's
it's
not a
literally the
myth.
death
It is
zone.
literally where you will go to die.
Yeah, there's no getting around it. Um, and so here's what was beautiful about this whole lore card is remember in Destiny 1 when we had the shirt and emblem the shader that was given out for the fallen Nepal people. They were so in Nepal.
Yeah,
There was a
yeah.
horrible fatality that happened. A bunch of climbers, and Bungie gave out an emblem code in a shirt. If you buy this, it'll go towards the Sherpas, and that's another reason why we use the word Sherpa in game. Sherpas are these beautiful people in Nepal that will help mountaineers or mountain climbers ascend to the top of these treacherous terrains, and they'll get you so far, and then they're like, okay, now you're on your own, because they know that terrain, they've lived that life, they live there, and a lot of them are in poorer communities, so they really their whole existence thrives on the influx of money from climbers and expedition crews coming in there to do these things, right?
Hmm.
And it's not only for thrill seekers because there's a lot of scientific activity that needs to be done, research that needs to be done at these altitudes that you cannot do any other way without climbing. I mean, like we said, you can't take a helicopter, drop off some gear, and then do
Yeah.
some. You can't fly a drone up there. The drone's just going to not work. You can't there's not robotic things
I
that you
mean,
can just
you
send
would
it,
need like a rover.
and it won't even go up there. I mean,
Mm.
it's just like it's so treacherous that nothing can go up there except for the human, will to do it. Um, And so these Sherpas died. There was this horrible event that all died. And so a way to commemorate that, Bungie put out a
Yeah, so I got the picture of that shirt. I never
yeah,
actually knew the meaning behind it.
yeah. It
That's
was a
sad,
tragic
man.
thing. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of these cool shirts and emblems have something tragic that went. I think just recently there was the Australian calamity that happened with the forest fires over there. You have the iconic kangaroo shot of that shirt. But yeah,
That one I don't remember.
you don't remember the forest fires in Australia that claimed all the koala bears and the trees?
No, I don't
There was
remember the
that one.
shirt.
Oh, you don't remember the shirt? It was a good one.
Oh yeah, look at that. But yeah, no, that
So,
is crazy.
so I thought it was really nice to put an ornament in game that pertains to the 8000ers and what are the 8000ers, and there's like this circular motion back to something that gave me a sense of nostalgia, but also gave me kind of tugged at my heart because I feel for the Paul people because they're such a beautiful culture, beautiful people, and they really are a peaceful for the most part, and are really, their livelihoods are centered around uh, those mountains. And
Hmm.
who else knows those mountains better than the Sherpas of that area, and the other areas around there, of course. The other people indigenous to that area. And so, just to really quickly recap, the fatality rate for Annapurna, the most dangerous mountain in the world, is over 30%. So if you want to even go worse, that one particular mountain, you got basically a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to survive. One of the things that we do now to help be able to make it to summits is we have bottled oxygen, guided climbs, which made Mount Everest so much safer than it was.
Yeah, because
But
like
the
that's what I was referencing when I said that it wasn't really like a thing anymore. It's what I've
yeah,
heard about like Mount Everest, where it's like, yeah, it used to be a thing, but now they have guides, and it's really just about like, it's
yeah,
like it's almost like scuba diving in like a controlled environment where it's like, no, you can't just walk up and do it. You go through a training class, and it might take a month of
that's
training, and
exactly
then you
right.
get
Yeah.
people that bring you up there, and then you go up there and you do it. And sure, it's exhilarating to do. I'm sure I'm not trying to like shit on anyone
No,
who
I mean it's serious
aspires.
business. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 100% serious business. And so, just like you said, Mount Everest isn't even really a thing now. I mean, it's a thing, but it's not as big a thing. So, we know that you have to climb halfway up the mountain just to get acclimated because you can't make it if you don't. And you got to live there for like a week or two before you can even start to make an ascent, right, to the summit.
Yeah.
So the preparation is insane. But like as far as this particular mountain goes, the world's tallest mountain still takes lives regularly, and uh, in this particular instance, 9 people died on that mountain.
I mean, all I can say to anyone who wants to do that, it's just not worth it. Like, it's. I
That's
mean,
funny.
I'm sorry. I'm
Um,
not trying to be a dream crusher, but like, holy
yeah, no.
shit.
I mean, people will get rich just to do it. I mean, like their whole life goal is to be climber and get to the top of Mount Everest, right? Like people spend their entire lives and fortune on just being a guy or person that got to the top or a summit of a mountain. Um, anyway, the top of
What was I'm sorry, I have to ask. What was that movie where
Mr.
there's
D.
no,
Oh,
no, where there's it's like a it's not a it's not a triceratops, but it's like a triceratops. It's like one of those like offshoots, and he's got a bunch of animals on him, and it's like there's there. So I found the image. There's the lizard, and he's like, this is Fury. He protects me from creatures that crawl in the night. This is Destructor. She protects me from mosquitoes. This is Dream Crusher. He protects me from having unrealistic goals. Like people need to hang out with Dream Crusher if you want to go on these mountains that are killing 1 out of 4 people.
that's funny. Yeah. Uh, the Okay, so real quick, just to close it out, the
It's a good dinosaur.
the scientific thing about the 8,000ers is this is really interesting too. So, like, just to crush your dreams even further, um,
Please. It's saving
an
lives.
exam,
Do it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the good work.
yeah. The the top of these mountains is really interesting. So, like, taking Mount Everest for an example, which is they're all the same at the top. The top of Mount Everest is not hard igneous rock produced by volcanoes. Rather, it is much softer rock formed by the skeletons of creatures that lived on the warm ocean floor off the northern coast of India tens of millions of years ago. So the plate tectonics that transform the ocean bottoms into the highest points on the planet, scientists to this day are still fascinated by these. And if you can imagine, once you get to the top, you're no longer on hard igneous rock that can sustain your foot movement underneath, but rather a slippery slope at the peak, basically.
You think Drifter would eat that?
The
If you
tops of
told if you
mountains.
told him what it was, if you were like, this is crushed creature that has been 10 mil. It's like a dry aged steak. ten
Yeah,
million old 10 million old sea floor lizards or some fucking
yeah.
shit.
Well, what's interesting about that is that we can only dig so far down before it becomes possible. And the ocean floor is so deep, we can only ascend so far that exploration is possible. And then to think that at the tops of these mountains, the same stuff at the very deepest ocean floor that we're trying to understand and discover is at the top of the. So basically, all of the things that are the mysteries of the world are in the most impossible places to get. And you're likely going to die trying. Uh,
I saw an article that they found some like weird cave dwelling creature recently in some like I imagine Asian country. I didn't look into it too hard. I just saw the image where it was of course the person who posted the image was the person at the back of the group because everyone was trying to go and get a picture of whatever the hell it was they found, but no one in the
yeah,
front row felt it necessary to share their
be there.
their image. They just
Of
got in
course.
the way with their cameras and they're like, oh, I'm gonna keep this on my phone forever. Never put it anywhere. um
Well,
yeah.
the 8,000er is cool. It has just ornament wise, real quick. It has
Yeah, of
the
course.
teeth on the boots,
Yeah.
and
I
obviously it's associated with frosties, obviously because snow,
mhm.
frost, and so this is a mountain climber thing. It's got the rope rig, and
Do you have this ornament in game?
yeah, yeah, I'm using it right now.
Does it generate the frost
It
up the
doesn't.
legs?
No, I
That's
thought it was going to do
disappointing.
that. It doesn't do it like it. No, it just does the glow. It doesn't actually do the snow.
Uh,
Yeah, it's kind of a
I mean,
bummer.
I love this ornament. I think it's a very beautiful ornament, and I would love to have this ornament, not at the cost of wearing frosties.
Oh, I love Frosty. I wear Frosties and Stomp. I
I
alternate.
hate stompies. I
You don't like Stompies?
I hate them. Everyone's like, just put stompies on it. I'm like, no, they change my jump. I don't want that.
Well, it's. Oh man, I love Stompies when you. Well, it's like shuffling between controller modes. I can understand.
Yeah.
'Cause you get used to one way, and then you like
Well, yeah,
you're.
that's the other half. There's all the people who are like so deep down the rabbit hole where they're like, "What do you mean I
Yeah,
have
you
to take
can't.
these off? I don't
Yeah,
understand how to jump anymore."
yeah. I just was using Lucky Raspberry yesterday.
What
Get the hell out of here.
what are your loadouts, man?
No, I was just trying it out to see what happened. And the first game, it didn't even work. It didn't do anything. And
Well,
then
it's
finally,
not guaranteed.
I know. And then the second game, it finally started working,
It
and I
is
was
fun when
picking
it
up.
works. It is when you get like huge clusters of ads and you
Yeah,
just like throw an arc bolt and then you throw another arc bolt and then you just with your
yeah.
fucking
But what
arc
the hell
bolts.
am
That
I
that is
doing? I was
fun.
doing it in Iron Banner. I was
Yeah, no, you're
that.
never gonna get it to fucking proc and Iron Banner. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
it was
that'd
so
be
funny.
okay.
I just got
Well,
sick of
so go on.
all the crap. No, anyway, I just got sick of all the crap, and I was just like, I just want to disrupt stuff and see what happens.
Yeah. That's my issue with PvP in general, where it's just like even if I have like a meta weapon, I'm just not
Right.
good. I don't know the lanes. I don't know where I'm supposed to stand. I don't know how I'm supposed to move. I'm terrible, and I've only gotten worse as time's gone on because I've lost interest in
Map,
competitive
yeah.
modes.
Map awareness is definitely one of the biggest things you need.
Because when I was a teenager, I used to like I never got into Call of Duty until Black Ops 2, and that was my first real multiplayer shooter. And then I went like really hard into multiplayer shooters, and it's it, I hit my peak. Like I think in Destiny 1 I hit my peak, and then I just slowly started falling and falling further, and now I'm
You're not the only
so
one. Everybody did.
yeah.
Everybody did. I mean, there are the people that play it religiously every day, and of course they're
Yeah,
gods
and I'm
because
not telling you not
because
to enjoy it.
oh yeah, and because the populace is changed so much. I
Yeah.
mean, most of the people in there are extremely good or just so it's like there's no real like middle to class,
Yeah,
honestly,
and
to be
I just don't
honest.
know what I'm doing because it's weird. It's like in PVE, it's like I understand how to shoot, but the
Yeah,
second I'm going up against a non AI controlled enemy,
the
my
prediction
not
factor
even
gets
just that, not
random.
even that they're like outmaneuvering me, and it's like, oh man, I need enemies that stand still. Like I go up against people who are standing still. That's how bad I am. That those are my opponents, and I'm just like, I'm like
Yeah,
doing the
yeah.
like comical like outline of bullets
Yeah,
around
yeah,
them,
like
and
it's
it's
never hitting the person, you're
yeah.
just following. Yeah. Well, just real quick to just kind of give my opinion on Iron Banner real quick.
Well, that's what I was
Uh,
gonna say. We should talk a little bit about because people are not that happy about it.
and that aside, I just want to break it down. I love the mode engagement with the center turrets
Yeah,
that show up and you have to deal with them real quick. I love the back and forth that happens because of that. So like if you're not good at PvP before, so real quick before in Iron Banner, if you didn't know how to do anything and you just sucked all around, your whole focus was to get zones, right? And then just like try to pick up some kills with a well placed grenade or whatever. So at least you could be somewhat, could contribute somewhat to your fire
yeah,
team. However, that gets old really quick. And I like the fact that they abolished that whole idea where you lock down the zones and then it's just like this heavy weight dragging the opposing team down into mercy. Now you don't really have that anymore. You don't have
hmm
the get the zones, they lock it out, and now your only job has been taken away from you. Just go around dying and dying.
and
Now
but
you have this center thing to deal with,
yeah.
so that helps out a lot. Um, you were gonna say something?
Well, I was gonna say I hope you can't hear the helicopter going by.
I don't hear
Um,
anything.
okay, good. And because it's a zone control format where the only thing that matters is catching zones, people have like caught on to that in my experience at least. People
Sure.
aren't just aimlessly running around getting kills. So it's like, okay, we have zone A, they have zone C. They don't give a fuck about zone A. All they want is zone B. So
Yeah.
everyone is like posted up perfectly to stop any approach from zone A to zone B. And it's like I cannot catch zone B. So then I'm like, all right, then I guess I'm just gonna go catch zone C and try to flip it.
Flip it.
But then it's
Yeah.
it's you have to neutralize it and then you
Yeah.
have to capture it, and it's like, oh, they're
Right.
trying to catch our zone. Let's just go handle this one guy while everyone else is getting laned on zone B. And I'm just
Yeah.
like
And that's
I'm so I'm,
before and before this particular game mode, and I think I see what Bungie's trying to do because before this particular game mode, that was always a point of contention with people
yeah.
who were like really good at Iron Banner, which I religiously played Iron Banner ever since it came up. Like that was my thing back in. Every
Yeah.
time Iron Banner came up, it was like, "Honey, Iron Banner week, let's go," and then we would just play, and you got really good gear, you got high items, and you really got to
Yeah.
kind of play against people that were on your level. We're not like trials grinder expert people or whatever.
Yeah.
I just love the mechanics. So anyway, long story short, too late. Iron Banner before you would get a zone and you would either flip it, and the OG vets were get really upset and frustrated when you flipped it, because they knew it was pointless to flip it. Now everybody's spawning on the other side, and all you're doing is messing everything up. When you had control, and everybody's really trying to just get coverage on B, and so that fight becomes flipped. So you knew that if you were going to flip it, everybody needed to be involved with the, because the only way to really manage the whole entire game was to immediately flip the other side or keep the other side from getting C while you're getting A. So one guy over there just spamming bullets to slow him down so that you could come in to get B, and then eventually all the C guys were rushing to B while you're getting C. So anyway, they can't do that now.
Yeah. It's not that it's a bad mode or anything. Like I've seen a bunch of people. I've seen a bunch of people who've genuinely enjoyed it, and I like it in theory. I just think my dislike of it comes fully down to I don't really like PvP. Like if
Right,
it's not
sure.
mayhem, if it's not scorched, I just don't really care. And
What
so I don't really want to
what
voice an opinion against it because of that.
what people, the things that I've heard people complaining about, and I complain about it too. The things that people complain about, they're justified. And
Yeah.
one of the hardest things to manage right now in Destiny is the sheer chaos, and the fact that there's always going to be a meta of weapons that rise to the top that everybody will sing you
I've
use.
been seeing
And
people
then
use the Seraph carbine from
yeah,
Season of the Almighty.
I've seen
And I
that
was
one
like,
too. What
really?
is this
Is
about?
that meta? What is going on?
I have no idea. I'm getting killed by the same guns though. Like Amit, I'm getting
Yeah,
killed
yeah,
by
that one too.
even
And I
even
was like, I
Rose. I'm
have
getting
that. I
killed by.
should use it.
But the ones that piss me off are always the broken ones, like Wither Horde. That's always there.
That one pisses
There's
me off because I like to use that one too. But when I put it
sure,
on the ground, everyone gets out of it. But when they put it on the ground, I stand in it. So
yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah, and then there's the Titan bubbles. Then there's the Well of Radiance guys. Then there's
I haven't
the
seen a single well because I mean, obviously, it's stasis and void to get your pinnacles,
and then there's the hunters that using stompies, and then
like you.
there's yep, and then there's everybody using the stupid Wizen Rebuke fusion rifle that's just insanely good, and you can kill everything. And then of course Jotun's back, so it's
Is
like,
Jotun back? I got killed by a single
oh my
Jotun, and I was
god,
like, that's an old one. Jotun used to be
Jotun,
the one that would piss me off when I got killed by
yeah,
it. There's like not a single weapon in the game that pisses me off when I get killed by it,
yep,
except for Jotun.
except Jotun, yeah, yeah, Jotun, Wither Horde, Wizened Rebuke, which I use because I'm horrible, because it's the only way I can survive in the game. And then pulse rifles are really good. Like
Hmm.
Stay Frosty for
So I've
some
said,
reason.
so I've heard,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Stay Frosty. I use it. I can understand why it works, but it just works because it doesn't really work anywhere else.
I tried to get a Outlaw Desperado Stay Frosty. I was
Oh,
unsuccessful.
nice.
I
Some
did
of
get
these
a
new,
couple headstones though, but either way.
yeah, I was gonna say some of the new mods that they've put out there in the rotation are really interesting to play with.
Yeah.
But what drives me up a wall is the sheer chaos with everybody's supers and all of these different mods that you can do. You can build yourself to be completely resistant to any kind of arc damage. And if everybody on the team is running arc, you're going to survive. Or you can choose to be solar or void or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like the window of survivability towards damage can be manipulated in all of these extraneously complicated ways, that you really have to be hyper focused on your builds anytime you go into any single match. And that is frustrating because for casual people, you don't have the time to get six different armor sets
Yeah.
to be viable in
I
different
have a few.
engagement.
Yeah. All of my armor sets are focused on PvE, and even they aren't like top tier. They're just like, but they're all right, you know. And it's not difficult to get armor sets. It's just it's difficult to know how to get armor sets. And actually, it is difficult to get armor sets because Bungie has decided to make it difficult to get armor sets because Season of the Risen armor is higher standard armor than Season of Haunt Haunted Pirate. No, Season 1 is better than season 2, 3, and 4. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're kind of
You're right.
forced into, unless you're getting risen umbral energy, then
See, that's the
you're
other
not going to
thing.
use it on
I'm
armor.
just
It's not good armor.
see, I'm getting fatigued, and I feel like a lot of other people are feeling the same way. I'm just getting fatigued by the sheer amount of things, just the overwhelming amount of mods, materials, and put this thing into this thing, turn this
Yeah.
thing into this thing so that you can unlock this thing. You can't even, masterwork anything unless you have this stupid thing, and then you can't do this stupid thing unless you've done 10,000 of this other thing. And I'm like, oh my, I just, so when I compare it to other games, like, there's the Call of Duty players out there, Battlefront players, or Battlefield players,
Is
Battlefield
Battlefield
players
still
out.
a thing?
Sure.
I thought
And
that went away.
no, it came back. And then there's the Halo people like me. I just, sometimes I want to, if I want to play PvP, I just want to come into a mode that's already leveled. Everybody's on the same playing field.
Yeah.
And then I can really test my might against yours because there's no seesaw.
And so then in that case, let me pitch something to you.
Sure.
So last season, I think it was, we had Iron Banner Rift. In this season, we have Iron Banner Fortress. And so obviously, Saladin is interested in working with other people to influence what the Iron Banner is. And
Yeah.
arguably speaking, Rift is kind of Ikora's thing because Rift was a warlock training exercise exclusively
Yeah.
before it got
Yeah.
brought
Yeah.
into Destiny 1 way back when. So I'm just going to call it Ikora's partnered thing, right? And now we have Fortress, which is Iron Banner plus Keitel. So what if the next Iron Banner variant he teams up with the Drifter,
Oh
and
God.
it has nothing to do with PvE enemies, but it has everything to do with PvE relics. So for example, we have the Aegis from Volta Glass, we have swords from the Hive, we have the nut from Leviathan. Remember the nut with the beam? You had to stand in
I know where
sunlight
you're
and you had
going
to
with
shoot
it.
it. You have scorch cannons from Fallen, just general Fallen, right? And you have like the big heavy wrench from Leviathan, right? Just like
Get out of here.
a bunch of the ridiculous things, and they all play how they originally played, and it's gun game.
That's
So
funny.
you have to get your kill with each relic, and then you automatically take the next one. You automatically take the next one, and it
That's
gets
awesome.
harder. Like they give you the easy ones
Sure, sure, sure.
first,
Yeah.
and I'd have to like really think hard about it because so many of them I forgot. But it's like maybe you have like the cores from Black Armory, right? You throw the cores at Guardians to cause them to
Yeah.
explode, and just like things like that. And the whole pitch for this hinges on it has to be Drifter because the final weapon that you're going to use is the heavy wrench, which slows you down while you're carrying it. You cannot jump while you're carrying it. It is lumbering. It sucks. And to get the win, you have to get a kill with the heavy wrench. And when you get that kill, Drifter screams, "You wrenched victory away from the enemy."
So the payoff is a bad dad pun.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I think that's because people
oh my
I
God.
see people talk about gun game like
Yeah.
kind of often,
Yeah.
and it's like, how does gun game come into Destiny? And it's like, oh, with random rolls, it really can't. Oh, well, maybe you can just do it with exotics, and it's like, yeah, I guess, but I mean,
I
it's
just
still
I,
kind of difficult. But it's like relics, man. You just
I
need
wish they would
you need relic rumble. Let's go.
I wish they would do something interesting in like the Crucible Labs and just put a play mode in there that I just want to see what happens. I don't really care what you think is going to happen. I don't really care what you feel like 100% is going to happen. I
Snowballs.
just I just want to see, yeah, like something like that. But all I want to do is see what would happen is if you took away all of the meaningfulness out of your armor and
Yeah.
all of the
Well,
extra.
that's what the relic would be. It would be. There's no
Yeah,
fucking point. I mean, I guess you would still like you want to have your resilience up, but I mean,
but no, let's take all that and
yeah,
make
you
it a
should take that
flat.
away in gun game.
Let's take all of that and just make it a flat stat that everybody has while they're playing that Crucible,
I
and
agree.
let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens,
Like
and then
like
you
don't
can
even take it
use.
away, just put everyone to the max. Like
Yeah,
everyone has
exactly.
max mobility, max resilience, max recovery. Just there you go.
Or just like how they remove a weapon and can't select that. Like just make all the mods deselect. Do that. Make every.
Uh,
Hey, look, I'm one
I
of the
don't think
people
that's a
that
good idea.
I'm one of the people that says, "Hey, look, I want you to be able to play however you want to play. That's great." But what I don't like in P is just there is no mode where you can go toe to toe with somebody exactly.
I
I
understand.
don't. I don't think that's. I don't think that's a bad thing to want to try to experiment with. Why can't we? They tried really hard when D2 first came out, and when everybody had the same guns, and you could only get
Static rolls, yeah, I remember
yeah,
that.
the special, and we hated it. And you know why we hated it? Because it was drastically different from D1. Now we've gone the complete opposite way onto the seesaw, and now you've got this massive difference where when the beginning of D2 seemed a little bit more. I mean, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, D2 Vanilla, it was like very, very balance focused because they were trying to like branch into the competitive scene, but then immediately people just did not like it.
Yeah,
So
they hated it. But
they're like, never mind.
give me a mode that's more for like just anyway.
Yeah, no, I get you.
They've got competitive, and I like it, and I like the
I
fact
actually
that you
haven't
can up.
gone in because it's not competitive anymore. What is it called? Or is
Yeah,
it
it's called
competitive
competitive.
now? What did it used to be called?
Ugh.
Because the name
Uh,
changed.
oh yeah, I'm bad
Well,
with names.
I haven't been into it yet. Um,
You haven't gotten Rose yet.
is that where you get it? Because no, I haven't. I have no ambition to get it either. I'm not.
Rose
I'm
is a
not.
good gun.
Is it? Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah, Rose is a great gun. Can you hear me?
Um, I just fucked up.
Break something. Playing with
I was playing with my headphones, and I guess this actually does things.
button.
It's got a little volume slider, and I turned it all the way up, and it got really loud.
Oh.
So then I turned it all the way down, and then it got really quiet. And then I was thinking about how spaghetti, how just like horribly rigged our show is. And I was like, oh shit, did I just like fuck up how the audio comes through? And now I'm trying to get it back into the same place, and I'll never touch it again.
Oh crap! You know what? We only have 15 minutes. We probably should talk a little bit of lore.
Yeah, I mean that was the intention.
Whoops.
Um, so the lore it's pissing me off. I need to actually, because I'm on the spoiler squad. I need to actually. I didn't realize there was an update last week or so, but I need to go through and re. No, I fucking flagged it. I don't know why it didn't work. Either way, I'm off. I'm getting off topic. The lore is not on Ishtar, so it's a pain in the ass to get. Um, is it worth just reading? Because I want to read it. Should we put it off for the next episode?
Well, I mean, if you just want to,
Because it's not very long.
no, just read it, dude. This is short. Just read the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
So
super short.
the first entry we have 5 weeks of entries. The first entry is called Identity, and so these are all Rasputin
Yes.
logs. I guess he's kind of talking about himself. So they all start with Secret Hadal Instant AI Com Rasputin Assets Soul Restricted Anna Bray AB, and then Subject My Creation and Forced Change into the War Mind Emotion Importance Confusion Purpose. And so I really like that he has the subject and also his emotions in it. I thought that was a really interesting touch for Rasputin. It's kind of
It shows that he's
humanizing.
got, yeah, it shows that he's got emotional responses coded within.
Yeah. And so the first one reads, I am thought to breach Aries in motion, redshift information across time. My purpose is wombed in the arc delivered safety between worlds, and it is quiet. I am a nest against the terrors of uncertainty. My success is spoken in voice of those who live by my actions, and it is joyful. I am changed. Protection given over to new meaning, but I had a purpose. My name decided. I am Rasputin, the all-seeing savior of humanity. Chivalric blade held pointed at ravenous throats. My worth is painted upon the wreckage of my enemies. Tremble.
It's kind of his declaration to his.
Yeah.
Um, it's like a declaration to his existence being now defined. It's like, here I am, hear me roar. Have
Yeah.
you ever heard that one? Yeah. So it's kind of like he's telling the world, I am aware, I am alive,
And so
which really falls good.
yeah, and so this is when Anna started trying to like teach him humanity, teach him emotions and everything. Before this, he was just a tool who was intended to be used for Clovis to what's it called? Take the throne when
He wanted to take the traveler, which we
usurp
learned, yeah,
usurp the traveler.
usurp the traveler, yeah.
And so this is like immediately after that where he's like subject my creation and forced change into the war mind. So then the second entry is called Anna. The subject is the education of my soul, Anna Bray, metamorphosis, learning to feel, trust, and love. Emotion, connection, growth, expansion, revolution, autonomy, developing. And so it reads, humanities like gravities entwined, emulsify or separate. My protocol enshrined this connection, it cannot be denied. Taught, though not without foundation, a merit in language most. Wistful and listful reflection divined. I had seen life without the soul, but the ink print foretold one day life could be, becoming me, an arid love defines. Laughter, a response to such timid dream, but I am owned no longer. I am free. Her nourishing autonomy, literature and binding, music redefining, philosophy, psychology, wild variables. Spur a reformation. I am finding. Conscious eyes empathize. Emboldening my heart, where warfare honed my senses and fire holds back the night. But it was trust and love that brought the lesson to set down my Absalom knife. To lift others upon my shoulders and shelter them from harm is reason enough to devote oneself to love without arms. So he's just like immediately, he goes from fucking robot to poet in the second
Exactly.
entry.
He's full on reading prose at this
Yeah.
point, and he fills himself with this sense of purpose, and he is now aware.
Yeah.
He feels the weight of his condition as far as the universe around starting to shift towards like giving a like understanding where people are coming from, humanity is coming, having to
Hmm.
struggle with the fact that
And
there's
and
horrible things that happen.
and one
Sometimes you
of
can't.
sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, I just know how tight we are on time, so like I just
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
point
Go
out
for it. Go
things
for it.
and keep going as quickly as possible. So one of the important things that I found about this entry is to lift others upon my shoulders and shelter them from harm, because all the way back in D1 we have a very old entry where he says he like slouched his shoulders and let people fall, and I think we talked about it the last episode as well, how it was like his decision to kind of like let people die, let billions of people die, because it was either billions or everyone, and it's like 10 people surviving is still people surviving. That's
Trolley
intrinsically
problem.
a better outcome. And so that kind of comes in this next entry, First Fear. Subject, the collapse, humanity falls, I hide. Emotion, terror, anxiety, uncertainty, failure, shame. It is known by name, the timelessly lingering, inexorable thing. An absence, mine, never missed, never since that dripping rabid fang. They howled it in fierce across the rings when Exodus was devoured, dust calling out the voiceless rout to end within the hour. It spreads like lightning, panic and flash and echo thereafter. Avert yourself and take no part in metastasized conjecture. I'd gone to wake my confidant, to ferry her through autumn. From her too it came, like leaves already fallen. Nascent red writ, paralytic erratum. All that was, immued and shrunken, in the smallness beckoning, I felt it descend. Fear, upon my chamber thine, penned with blood of lamb and stark desire to survive this end.
Yep.
So this is kind of him speaking on the collapse, which is a very different view of his seeing the collapse happen, because like he has an entry where he kind of talks about seeing the traveler fight the darkness and lose, and that's when he made this decision.
Right.
So these are his emotions basically after, I imagine, after watching the traveler get smacked down, terror, anxiety, uncertainty, failure, shame. These all come after that event. Do you have anything to say on that one?
No, that's good. It's just like the "what have I done" moment where he
Yeah.
starts to wrestle with it. A
Yeah.
little bit of morality being
Yeah.
in.
And then the next entry is lone. Subject, I am alone and wish greatly not to be. Siddhartha formed to venture where I cannot. Emotion, loneliness, unease, curiosity, discovery. And so, does this
Yep,
make you think that the Siddhartha Golem, which became Fellwinter, was created, excuse me, after the
absolutely.
collapse?
Yes, absolutely. Because what happens here is he's got to explore the surroundings post collapse, and he's got to whatever means he can, and that was so
We
Fellwinter.
have to go back to that other lore book then, because I could have sworn it said that Siddhartha Golem was created during the Golden Age to exist among the humans. So we'll go back
Maybe
to
it was,
that.
yeah. So maybe we'll find a nugget there, that tool that was implemented
Yeah.
later on. Here it was.
But so it reads, shall write an endless line to explain this loneliness of mine. Who would read it and why? What freedom remains outside this collapsing space? Shall I wait for a sign? And no one comes for me? If abandoned and forgotten, you left as I did humanity, could in their mind forgiveness find an anchorage point unmaligned? No, lo, I see the brewing storms from high above their course, craft xenometeoric wrath come screaming to engorge. Shall I reveal myself and sail into their winds? Should I be the protectorate envisioned before my sins? In last attempt, then, I consolidate my kind, satellites and strategies in death once so refined. A web of inadequacy, filtered down imperfectly to see that which perplexes me. You fall below lordly iron groans, warlord they may say, but no closer to a man.
So there he is feeling more alone. Well, now I don't have the humanity to reflect what I really am, so I
Yeah,
have to fall back on my true nature, which is machinoform. Starting to feel He's starting to fill himself, his loneliness, with the things that he's aware of, which is his satellites. His
yeah. So I think
versions.
I think the subject line saying Siddhartha forged to venture where I cannot is saying like I'm now talking about the Siddhartha Golem who was forged to venture where I could not, even though he was forged previously, not I forged him today,
Okay, that would
because
make more sense. Yeah, that
just
would make
because
more
of how
sense.
it
Like he's
actually
just
reads.
reflecting on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
because he's like
because
reflecting on what had happened, and
yeah,
now he's feeling even more alone because he's reflecting on
yeah,
what happened
because
to
it's
Winter. Kind of makes sense.
exactly like you said. He's reflecting on what happened, and it sounds like he's saying like I used to have a Siddhartha Golem, but
Yeah, there you
now
go.
you fall below lordly iron groans, saying an iron this is when the Iron Lords came against Fellwinter when he was the warlord Fellwinter and not the Iron Lord Fellwinter. warlord they may say, but no closer to a man, which is another web of inadequacy. His like insecurity of like, you were created to be like my tie to humanity, and you are not anymore.
It's pretty.
And then the last entry, I must have misspelled it in how I actually got these entries. I took pictures of them and then used the text reader because they weren't in the API. So this one, I believe it's supposed to be fill side ellipses. It might be something different. The first word is lost to me. So then this says subject is learn of Fellwinter, the traveler's theft, and then emotion is betrayal, rage, catharsis, regret. So this is a longer one. Um, Silent eyes wink between stars, fireflies darting in reflective myths. Stretch forth, feel emptiness breathe their pushing lights. Before time bends in entropy, their wave particle birthright. A call across the cosmos, effervescent to delight, lay in foundry furnace seeking breath of life. Upon the forge of Daedalus, mine stars converged within. A forest, countless timber, until hewed from labored form. Fashion, Rasputin felled, winter's born. Enslaved, imprinted, steel flesh enraptured one. Within these eyes demystify the nature of the soul. A light well lived discarded, run ragged in the muck, return Valhallic rising to await the end of dusk. Traveler, may my leave taken in the stumbling remains, disconnection placed in waiting. For the surface to be raised, assured of my collection, of polished emotional states interruption. What transience does the spectre bridge, to venture into my domain? 'Twas I who taught you to speak, to conscript thought to tongue. I cast a soul electrified against soul's setting sun. Sorry.
No,
Yet you
good.
stroll so sweetly, oblivion in tow, wandering once again with what seeds we used to be. You've cast them into the seas. Metal gods watch from crowded skies as battle flames test. No more will abide, you are mine. You cannot be yours. Violence murders virtue unsullied, mine broken by beauty fists, and crimson before me as silent revolution bleeds. Into the streets call the lords, to the locust their remains. From rubbled grave crawl drag, humanity clamber for glorious claim. Is this the final order, to watch nature waste away? What more is there that I have ceased to place my hand in wait? Which stolen thoughts wandered with you? Can you speak them now that we've ended it? Do you still feel, or no longer? This lineage separated, I dare not ask it. Heated flash subsides, but no, I've done it. Regret beside myself, by blow taken beneath the overgrowth. And so that is the death of the Iron Lords when they went to steal Siva.
So it's like he's reminiscing on the
Yeah.
horribleness of the Siva that he created by
And
killing.
this is probably like this is the last entry we have of the season so far. There are going to be, I believe, 3 more entries. But this one's probably my favorite so far because it starts to like shine light on the question I had of why did like Rasputin do that? And it's like even he doesn't really understand why he did it. He was just in like a rage that the thing that was supposed to be him in humanity was taken from him. And he's like, "No, you're not allowed to be me. I'm me." And that's why he was like so like hot-blooded about it. And then immediately after he did it, heat flash subsides, but no, I've done it. Regret beside myself, by blow taken beneath the overgrowth. He's like, what did I do? And it was such a hot-blooded moment for Rasputin, and I love that side of him. I love that we're getting that.
It's a good one. That's a really good one because it's shit.
So yeah.
Look at all this
Um,
devastation.
Yeah, and so then in 3 weeks we'll have the end of this book. The lore book is called Persona. You get it by doing the weekly quest and then listening. I don't think it actually cues you up to listen to the terminals. and that's
Yeah, you have to
something
go access.
you have to do it yourself. So don't forget, if you're wondering like where are you getting these entries, it's like
Gotta
that's
walk
why.
over to the stupid radio.
Yeah. Walk over to the radio. Now walk over to the holo projector. Now walk over to Rasputin. Now walk back to the radio. And it's like enough. We don't need 3 locations. You can just tell us from Rasputin.
That's what I say.
Give us a holo projector watch.
Good stuff.
It is.
I like the humanity of Rasputin.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see more because it's starting to like. We'll have to get more into it on our next episode, but it's starting to like really show Rasputin's journey, and I've been wanting this for so long. They've only like said he went on a journey. It happened, and it's like, oh, it did. Can I know it? And they're like, maybe, maybe someday.
Yeah, this is really good. This is really setting it up, isn't it?
Yeah. So our next show will be on the 22nd, and on the 22nd, following this format of the show, we're gonna have 2 new entries to read. We'll read them live. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about the other things that have happened. Maybe one of us will even do the dungeon. That'll be fun. So have a good one, everybody.
Bye.